One of the biggest surprises for people moving to Jacksonville waterfront homes is how much the tides affect everyday life. Not just boating, but docks, water views, access, and even how a property feels throughout the day. Jacksonville waterfront is unique. We have rivers, canals, marshes, and tidal creeks, and almost all of them are influenced by the Atlantic Ocean. As a Jacksonville waterfront realtor, I help buyers and sellers understand how waterfront homes actually live, not just how they look on a listing. What tides really are. So tides are the regular rise and fall of water levels caused by the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun. Not that you need a science and physics lesson, but I thought I would just throw that in there. In Jacksonville, most waterfront areas experience 2 high tides and 2 low tides each day. So every 6 hours, the tides shift. But the timing and range vary depending on where the property is located. This is why 2 waterfront homes just a few miles apart can experience very different water behavior. Why do tides matter for waterfront homes? Tides influence more than people realize. They affect how much water you see behind your home. They affect whether a dock is usable at certain times. They affect boat access in canals and creeks. And water depth near lifts and pilings is affected by tides as well. For some buyers, tides are barely noticeable, but for others, they shape daily routines. Many canals are tidal, but not all behave the same. Some maintain a usable depth at almost all tides, while others become really shallow at low tide. And where this matters is if you plan to boat regularly. For instance, if you're planning an early morning offshore trip, check where the tide will be when you plan to leave in the morning, because if the tide is dead low, you may not be able to float your boat off the boat lift. And in a case like this, you can take your boat off the lift the night before and tie it up to perhaps a floating dock. Marshfront properties experience the most visible tidal change. At high tide, water fills the marsh, and then at low tide you see grasses and mud flats. And this is normal, it's part of the stunning beauty of a marsh, but it's important to understand. And then Riverfront and Intracoastal homes, these areas usually have more consistent water depth, but tides still affect the current strength, so docking conditions and water movement. So when the current is the strongest, it can take some skill and navigation to get the boat back onto a lift in that strong current. And then with oceanfront homes, tides impact beach width, the wave behavior, and shoreline conditions, especially during seasonal changes. Okay, so let's talk about using tidal apps. One of the best things waterfront homeowners can do is stay informed. And thankfully, that's easy. And I'm going to give you a few tidal apps that are reliable, and I often recommend them to buyers. The NOAA Tides and Currents. This gives accurate location-specific tide predictions, and it comes directly from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration data. Then there's Tides Near Me, and this is very user-friendly, and it's great for quick daily checks. It shows the last and the next tide times, and also the moon phases. Well, did you know that during a full moon at night, the fish will feed, so the next day they won't be biting. So these moon phases come in handy for fishermen. And then the last app I'll mention is Windfinder. It's excellent for understanding tides along with the wind, the weather and water movement. So if you're a surfer, this would be very useful, as it's also lets you know when the surf is up. These apps help you plan boating, water activities, understanding your dock conditions, and simply know what to expect day to day with your tides. What buyers should pay attention to when you're touring a waterfront home, it's important to ask things like, what does the property look like at low tide? How does water access change throughout the day? Does the dock function at all tide levels? Seeing a home only at high tide doesn't tell the full story, and neither does seeing it only at low tide. There really is a range of water levels, and you need to know the whole story. And also what sellers should understand if you're selling a waterfront home, understanding your tide patterns will help you set realistic expectations for your buyers. You'll be able to answer buyer questions confidently, and it'll also help you to showcase your property honestly. After all, clarity builds trust with buyers. Tides are simply part of waterfront living, just something to understand. And as I always say, the more you understand your waterfront property, the better your outcome. So if you're buying or selling a waterfront home in Jacksonville and want guidance that looks beyond the surface, I'm always happy to help.